Morning, Gavin. Thank you very much for taking some time out and getting involved in Business Owner Spotlight. Go ahead, introduce yourself and let us know what it is you do.
My name's Gavin Ramsey and my girlfriend is Sonia Keegan. I'll mention her as well because we pretty much do everything together. We've got two businesses. One is a regular guest house in Bangor and the other is MovingOn Courses. MovingOn Courses, we offer immersion English courses for adult professionals who come from abroad to stay with us and to learn as much English as possible in a short time before they return to their country and get back to work, because they basically sacrifice their holidays to improve their English with us. We are a little different. Well, actually, we're very different. Most people think of, when we tell them that we're involved with English language teaching, they think it's a niche business. Far from it. You know, there are multinationals with academies all over the world, and there are, you know, an average mid to big academy would have 50 to 100 students every week. So we're not that, obviously. All our students stay with us in the guest house. That's why we call it immersion. We teach them via classes in the morning with the help of local teachers, but then we have lunch with them. And in the afternoon, we'll take them out on a study trip in the car so that they continue practicing in real situations. And you know, we'll probably go to a pub or a cafe and have yet another lesson to remind them of what mistakes they've made, what else they've learned on the trip. And then we'll come back with a pretty much European timetable and wouldn't have dinner till about 8:30 and finish up around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So they've had a sort of like a 13-hour day with a good 11 and a half, 12 hours of contact.
So that's, it sounds like really real world, practical use of the English language as opposed to passing a test then.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's not just studying with the book, because as you say, it's, you know, it's hands-on. Which helps with the learning experience. I mean, we always say, you know, if you're going to learn wind, how better to learn the word wind on a windy day walking along the coast, for example.
Yeah, and who would be your ideal customer, Gavin? Who would you most like to hear this or speak to?
As regards the easy to teach, we're fortunate that we've got adult students, so they come motivated. They know it's 100% English, so that's our ideal student. If we were to make that more ideal, it would be someone who's actually got an interview or a presentation that they've got to give in a few weeks' time, and then they're even more motivated. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, so you're just looking for motivated people who want to learn English and come and live with you. So do you have like a number of courses? Is it like a 3-day course and a 5-day course, or how does that work?
Well, the general market would have students staying an average of 4 to 8 weeks. Our students come for two weeks typically, but it's from 1 to 8 weeks. Unlike other courses, we actually put a maximum of 8 weeks because we want to keep our students totally focused and motivated.
Yeah. And is there some sort of test at the end? Do they get accredited, or?
We don't have an official accreditation because what they really need is to actually do an official exam. Yeah, the academies will always mention, we give you a certificate, as we do, but it doesn't really have much value, nor does any certificate from any academy. They have to do a sort of officially recognized exam.
But it's essentially the fact is they can communicate in English then, or much better than they could before they started. That's the reality. Yes,
yeah, our students learn a lot more. They get a lot more fluency and confidence.
And then so that's leveraging the facility you have there with the bed and breakfast as well.
Absolutely, and we are a bit cheeky, and we try and get our guests involved when we can, with their permission, of course, and that works as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. So it sounds like the two businesses complement each other really well. So how long have you guys been going for?
Well, we've been doing it off and on for about 20 years, but
Okay.
here in Northern Ireland, in this bed and breakfast, we've been going for 6 years. So this format of doing courses all year, except for a long winter holiday, then
Yeah.
for the last 6 or 7 years.
And what was it that made you sort of get into doing this in the first place and starting these two businesses?
Well, the courses came first because originally we would just rent accommodation and get other teachers to actually live with us as well. Um, but the move to actually to do this was more to do with just wanting independence, to be your own boss.
Sure. And what was it that made you pick the English courses for sort of international students?
Well, I was teaching English abroad, and I could see that the classes could only get them so far.
Yeah.
And when students came to me and asked me about the UK, oh, I'm thinking of studying a course here, and I learned the details, and I thought, well, you're not really going to learn a great deal. And I thought, why not set up something myself?
Yeah.
And fortunately, a few of my students, literally before I could mention that, asked me to take them on holiday to the UK. And I said, well, is this about English or is it about having a guide? And they said both. So MovingOn Courses was born.
Brilliant.
Classes in the morning and tourism in the afternoon and just non-stop English.
So that sounds really cool and just a natural evolution. And it sounds like a really great product. You know, it's doing exactly what the people need. So you mentioned there about having the freedom, but then the timetable that you described, so it's like a full-on day. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's the same all the way. So where does the freedom come in? Is that in the winter or?
Yes. We have a long winter holiday, and if we really wanted to, we could just say no courses in June for whatever
Sure.
reason. We're very unlikely to do that because we've got the advantage that we actually enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah. So you do get the freedom that you originally set out to have. So what would you say has been the biggest learning you've had since you took the plunge and started this format in the last 6 years? What's been your biggest learning in business?
Well, perhaps something everybody's had in the sense that had to learn is that you can't expect things to be the same the next day. And we were hit by a dip in the search, the position in Google of our website. And that meant we had to, for a short time, we had to offer other products, i.e. we offered a longer, more economical course. So that we could reach out to a wider base of students. But then we were also hit by Brexit and obviously the pandemic. So now I'm not going to let that happen again because we did take a big hit.
So when you say that your website listing dropped, how did that happen and how did you find out about it?
Well, once a week you'll check your rankings, and some people check them every day, some people once a year. But it is important, and we saw that Google had decided it didn't like something, so it was back to that. That wears off with time, and it's doing okay now. But there's obviously now this social media, because this is a while ago. Now social media is so much more important.
Of course, but the fact is you were monitoring that KPI, if you like, and took action as soon as you noticed it. That's the important thing. And you said then you're not going to let that happen again. So what will you do to change?
Perhaps be a little more humble in the sense that things were just going too well before the website went down. We were full. Then we got back to being full just before the pandemic, and then Brexit came in pretty much in a bundle with the pandemic, and so just keeping an eye on everything and taking steps to widen our appeal and to have more sources than just the website, to use social media and some agents as well.
Yeah, so just being that wee bit more robust, I suppose, by spreading your sort of lead channels.
Yeah.
Okay. And also just not resting on your laurels, you know, not thinking, right, everything's okay, just having one eye on the future and making sure that, sounds good. And so what have you learned about yourself then since you've been a business owner?
Well, I rest on my laurels. Perhaps I need to improve my organizational skills. A little bit of procrastination when it comes to the aspects of the business that you don't enjoy so much. So much easier to spend more time with students and think you're providing them with a better product, which you are, but the admin needs to be done as well. I'm a lot more sensitive than I imagined. Our course feedback it's about the course, it's about the other teachers, but it's primarily about myself and Sonia. And so you can take, fortunately, the vast majority is positive, embarrassingly positive sometimes, but I didn't realize I would react so badly or so well to the feedback. And also empathetic. We're sort of, you've just got to, we're convinced we offer the best possible way to learn, fastest possible way to learn a language. But I have to be honest, I wouldn't do it myself. If I had to learn French, I would not want to do a course like this, where there's no choice but to speak French all the time. And so the empathy is very easy, because these guys are, they're spending a lot of money and they're going in the deep end big time.
So one of the things you said there, though, is you're quite sensitive to the feedback, but the feedback is critical to your business. And then I would say then you're quite courageous for still going and asking for the feedback, because I know a lot of business owners don't ask for feedback because of fear of what they'll get.
Yeah, but as I say, we're fortunate that the vast majority is positive, but it's just not to be hurt by something that you thought you'd done well, and they perceive it a different way. But you learn and improve. You know, what we've certainly learned is every student is their own little world. We get very close to the students, so there's so much more than just a product. Bye. You know, these they arrive nervous, they leave as our friends.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell just from talking to you, it's really quite apparent. You know, you said you love what you do, which you're fortunate for, but you know, your passion for what you do is really quite quite obvious just from talking to you.
Oh, that's good.
What about then? If you were to go back and start your business again, is there anything you would do differently?
Well, be prepared for the setbacks that I've mentioned, and not be perhaps beyond resting on my laurels, being arrogant and thinking it was all we didn't need agents. Now we've discovered we do. So perhaps be humble and so I would be looking for every possible source of students, rather than thinking, well, you know, we've got it sewn up with the website and nothing to worry about. So I realize I'm repeating myself, but you know,
no, listen, I mean, everything's connected, you know, and it's that sort of like you getting out of the way of your own ego, you know, and saying, look, we will take that help, and then again, just not relying on one lead channel. So I think that's really, really important, you know, and tough lessons to learn in business, and to be fair. So hopefully somebody will hear that and take something from it. So have you got any favorite quotes or sayings or anything that you've picked up along the way that would serve you well?
Yeah, I mean, I do watch sort of YouTube business related videos and what have you. But to be honest, it sounds a little trite, but enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
And that means when we're doing something that like the admin, that I don't enjoy so much, I remember that, I've just been doing something I enjoy, and I will be doing something I enjoy the very same day. So what's the big deal?
Yeah. 100%. So you have to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
100%. So, I mean, you mentioned some of the challenges you've encountered, and to be fair, they're pretty macro level, like the Brexit and the pandemic. But what does the future look like for MovingOn Courses, and what do you see as the main challenges moving forward?
Well, the ideal future is the guest house is only for the students, because we enjoy the students more, because there's so much more contact and interaction. A house full of students. The challenge is doing that through new channels, social media, and agents, and which to a certain extent requires us to come across as far more professional. We've got the sort of friendliness sorted out, and the sort of empathy and putting in the time, but we've got to come across as professional and convince our agents. Well, for example, we've got endless videos and photos, but they tend to always be on the humorous side rather than the serious side. So, it's we're not young chickens anymore, spring chickens, but we got to get serious.
Yeah, okay, that sounds interesting. But I mean, again, it's at the very core is enjoy what you do and genuinely care, which it's quite clear that you do. So, look, Gavin, thank you so much for taking some time out and tell us a little bit about your business. Some great shares there, some great lessons you've had to learn the hard way. So hopefully that can save somebody else from having to do that. And I genuinely appreciate you getting involved today.
Oh, thank you for your time as well, Scott. All the best.
Thank you.